Spoiler alert, we're unpacking the whole plot, twist by twist. If you're spoiler sensitive, hit pause and come back when your TBR list catches up. Cheers!
Welcome to the podcast where our reading habits are unhinged.
And so are we.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Miranda.
And this is Marginally Unwell. We are doing a virtual one today. We had some scheduling stuff happening, so we're in our own spaces, but still together.
Yes.
Don't panic. Today we're hitching a ride across the galaxy with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's a lot of galaxy in one sentence.
Yeah.
From absurd bureaucracy to existential jokes and the most important number in the universe, we're exploring Douglas Adams' gloriously weird sci-fi classic. Grab your towel because things are about to get improbably hilarious. This is a fun one.
It was. I didn't realize how old this book was, honestly. Rereading it?
Yeah.
So, I think I read this one in high school, and it's been so long I could give you the highlights, but not like details, you know?
Yeah.
But like picking it back up again, I didn't realize it was that old. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's been probably around the same amount of time since I've read it. Mm-hmm. So, same. But there's some definite stuff that I still quote to this day, like before rereading. So, it's classic for a reason. So, let's jump into it. What do you think of Ford Prefect as a guide and a friend? How does he contrast with Arthur?
Honestly, I really liked him as a guide, specifically for the plot of like this book. But if he was like a real guide, I'd be kind of stressed out because he's very on a whim, you know, just like, oh yeah, just read this, or we'll just do this, and it's like, no, I need a plan. And Arthur being so grumpy and has a complaint or has something to say about everything. It's just so funny that he's thrown into like this huge thing, and I think Ford really has a good contrast to that and opens him up a little bit more. Because I feel that he kind of gets a little bit more used to it from the beginning to towards the end, but still has a lot of questions, as we all would.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I'd say used to it, more just like accepting the chaos.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, I really like him. He's so funny. I think the contrast for me too is really big because of like Arthur's like anxiety and like his confusion with everything, and then compared to Ford, who's like, he has a confidence about him, but then he's just so like
accepting of everything.
Blasé, like,
yeah,
just roll with it.
That's what it is. So we'll just pivot immediately.
Yeah, that would not be me in this situation, but it was good for the two of them together.
How did the humor work for you? Did it match your taste or take some time to get used to?
For me, I enjoyed it the whole time, but I feel like this is pretty on brand for my tastes. The like chaos and a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like nonsensical, I guess. Mm-hmm. It gives very like Alice in Wonderland, like doesn't really make any sense, kind of just stuff thrown in there, but I think it's hilarious. Same with thinking of stuff like more recent works like DCC, things like that. DCC's I feel like a little bit more extreme with some of the stuff, but the chaos like aspect of it, of like just the random hilariousness of it, and kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
So I liked it the whole time.
I did. I think it goes really well with the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the names and a lot of the character, like how the mice ruled the planet, and like what's the answer to life is like 43, just some random
42.
It's not even like a inspirational quote or anything. It's literally just a number. Like it was an equation. I was gonna also make the comparison to DCC, but also The Fifth Element. I get, like that kind of thing.
I can see that too. That has a lot more like the sci-fi aspect with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the chaoticness of, like this. Well, that's more of an action movie. Like the radio guy. What is his name? The Chris Tucker, Chris Tucker's character. And I don't know. Anyway, on a tangent here, but I think it goes well. I really like this type of sci-fi fantasy where it just like leans into it, and it's just a fun, just chaotic ride.
Yeah. Arthur Dent is a very ordinary person in an extraordinary situation. How did that shape your experience of the story?
I think it made it pretty relatable, honestly. He seems more structured, fixed, and as soon like he has his routine, he has the bar he goes to. In the very beginning, he's waiting for his house to get demolished for some road or something, and he's just missed an email and the correspondence, and he has to go and find it, and this to go find the notifications about it.
For them tearing down his house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just really funny where you just live your life and you miss a couple of notifications. And I mean, I've done it, and a lot of us I'm sure have, like some mail that you haven't gone and checked because you just get junk, and then your inbox and your email gets spammed out, and you're just like, oh, check it whenever I have a chance, and then all of a sudden you're just like, what?
I don't even think he got notified. They just said that they like put it out. Like
Yeah.
they announced it or whatever, and then he was like, yeah, the announcement was like on a bulletin at like I don't remember what they referenced exactly, but what I was picturing was like the city hall, like in the basement in like this random spot is where they like posted.
The lights broken.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that him being super ordinary really grounded the story for me because he was having a normal reaction to everything, as in like, this is insane. And so I feel like it made it, even though obviously the plot and like the whole entire story is like crazy and out of this world, it made it more relatable because that's how somebody like in our position would be reacting to something like this. Like, this is what is happening.
And it's like I
think that it was needed. But
which character did you connect with or enjoy the most, and why?
Probably Ford. Just like his chaos and his humor, and I mean, I kind of already said all that, but I don't know. And his like perspective on anything, like how he reacts to all the chaos, like we were kind of talking about, is a little bit like laid back on everything, and it's just like, let's just roll with it. I liked it. I liked him. What about you?
I really liked them as well. I really also liked the captain of the ship from, what is his name? Zaphod?
Beetlebox.
Beetlebox. I really liked him because I could relate to him a little bit, where he is kind of like listening, but is trying to, but also doesn't fully understand something, so it has to like be repeated. I liked that. Or he also like just kind of plays dumb just to get more information, but you don't ever know if he's like not understanding it or if he's playing dumb so he can get more. So I liked his character. Also, I liked the two heads, or one, they kind of like go back and forth with each other. I thought that was interesting. Also, 3 arms. Like, what? How random. It's like not 4,
Yeah.
So.
Was there a character you didn't enjoy as much, and what about them didn't work for you?
I don't think there was a character that I didn't enjoy. I thought they all had their own. I liked them all in their own way. Like even the ship that they had stolen, like the AI on the ship, that was funny. Yeah, I don't have one that I didn't like.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that I would say like I didn't like. I don't know.
You could argue maybe the mice that like created the Earth for some experiment, and then that's kind of morally unsound, but also kind of funny if you think of it.
Yeah, I think that that's honestly hilarious because we think it's like lowest of the low, basically. And so I think that that is funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I really had anybody. I guess if I had to choose somebody, it would be the guy who was like demolishing his house in the beginning. I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh my gosh, bro. But then it
Yeah.
ended up being hilarious because Ford like tricked him into laying down in front of the bulldozer or whatever. And so I thought that was so funny. But then it ended up getting torn down anyway. So if I had to pick somebody, I'd say that.
Yeah, with you there. Which scene or moment did you find the funniest or most memorable?
I think the fact that like Earth's destruction was like being treated as just like this minor inconvenience. I think that that was like hilarious to me.
A whole planet.
I thought that was really funny. And then I think to probably the biggest one for me, just because I say it all the time, is whenever, what's his name, the computer, Deep Thought, whenever he ends up coming with like the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And he's like,
Mhm.
42. Because whenever I don't know something, I will just say 42. And that's like the thing that I say. So I just think that that's so funny and obviously memorable because I still say it after all this time.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was like hilarious that he's like, I mean, you didn't, like, you don't know the question though. Because they're like, what does that mean? So, yeah, I thought that those are my top ones, I think. What about you?
The poetry reading
Oh,
with those guys where they're like the Vogons. Vogons. I really liked them. I thought they were that part with the poetry. I thought that was really funny where they're known to be like these brutal aliens and they just go around and destroy everything or and they're abrasive and all these things and then but they also like to do poetry
mm-hmm.
and I think Ford also said because they were stowaways on their ship. He's like, there's two things could happen is like they could throw us out and we can die in hyperspace, or even worse, they're gonna read us their poetry. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was
Worse than
crazy.
suffocating to death.
Yeah,
Whatever happens to you in space.
exactly.
Worse than a
And
horrible death.
listening to it and then but yeah, I would say that part and then Ford sticking his fingers in his ears just crying listening to this poetry and then Arthur being like, honestly, I kinda liked it. It was fine.
Yeah.
That part and then what was the android's name? Marvin? Yeah, Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
The depressed robot with the large head that's on the ship. Where he's like,
Yeah,
oh
he's
wow.
giving like Eeyore in robot form.
Just depressed. It's like, oh my goodness. What does it all matter? What does it mean?
How did you feel about the destruction of Earth happening so early into the story?
I think it went along with the book. That was the whole it was something to get him in like into space, that was part of
Mhm.
it. And then also like he couldn't go back, like he's committed, what regardless whether he wants to be or not, he has like there's nowhere to go back to. So
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I think it was a plot point to get to the story. So I thought it was
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I guess I was probably surprised like the first time I read it that it was like happening so early, but also I do feel like it sets the tone that like kind of what I was saying like about why it's so funny is that like it kind of sets the tone that like nothing is that serious.
Yeah.
Not even Earth. Like nothing is really that important. So I think it really did set a good tone for what the whole book is like. So yeah. with you there.
What did you think about the concept of the Hitchhiker's Guide itself?
I think I like it because I feel like it's almost like this is the word I'm thinking of, like a parody on like encyclopedias and like travel guides, like as they are. And also kind of like highlighting how unreliable like official knowledge can be.
Yeah.
And so I like the concept. I always think that like new perspectives on stuff like that and just kind of like poking fun at things like that is a little bit, I don't know. I thought it was funny. The whole book is funny,
Yes, I did like the concept as well. I thought it was like you mentioned of like a tour guide kind of thing almost because it does also is funny that there's different people that were adding into it. Like it wasn't a business that was putting these out. It was like other hitchhikers that were making notes
like
in it and that
Wikipedia.
exactly, or like Reddit.
But then people like take it so seriously sometimes, but then it's like that's why this is funny because it obviously like you can't take just because it says guide it doesn't mean that's funny.
Exactly. I thought it was funny too.
How did the short guide entries affect the pacing and tone of the book for you?
I thought they were good. What stuck out to me with the with some of the entries is whenever they're talking about the the best drink in the world and where to find it and how much to expect to pay for it so no one like can swindle you and like what it's made out of, how to, So I thought that was kind of funny, at least for you to go and try it or somebody. And then also like the short little descriptions of even like other species. So obviously like it gives you a little bit of insight and context of everything, like the generalization of course, but what to kind of expect whenever you're going and traveling through through the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of helped give context.
I really liked the short entries in it. I feel like it broke up the story in a nice way, like because they were so short, it didn't really like slow down the story a lot or anything like that. But I feel like it gave you pieces of like insight, like you were saying, or not that the story needed it, but like a little extra like piece of humor in there, something funny. And like I said, I feel like it kept good with pacing because sometimes I feel like whenever you have entry stuff like that, you can be like, okay, like let's continue with the plot. Like I don't really need to know this. I don't really care. But I feel like it was a good pace and like a good sizing of the entries. So I liked it and I think it actually like added good value to the story.
I agree. Did the episodic, almost sketch-like structure of the story work for you?
Yes, just because I feel like it fit the chaotic nature of the universe.
Yeah.
Where it was like feeling like a set of sketches. And so I feel like that's kind of how, I don't know, I feel like it fit with the story. And
yeah. I agree. I think it like they leaned all the way in. They didn't just they're like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna just lean and commit to the bit. And that was the story, and they did it remarkably well.
Yeah, again, like not to like compare it to this again, but I feel in a very similar way, like with Alice in Wonderland, it's very the same. It's like little mini sketches of like all these chaotic things are happening. So yeah, I feel like for the style that it was and the chaos that already like was a part of the universe and everything, I feel like it works well. I like it a lot. So what themes or messages do you think Douglas Adams, excuse me, was trying to explore?
I think it's what I got out of it, at least. The big one is not to take things so seriously, because it's not. Like, just it happened, accept it, go on to the next thing. Like, what's holding you back?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a little bit of like exploring like meaninglessness a little bit. And then the fact that we tend to overcomplicate things. And so like kind of like on the same vein that you were saying, like just to not take it so seriously and just like you can just move forward. Like you don't have to make it so complicated all the time.
For real. For real.
But in the most absurd way. He said that.
You got it to where you like spoon fed it to you, but also made it enjoyable.
Yeah.
How does the book use absurdity to commit on bureaucracy or authority?
I feel like he uses like the absurdity of like rules and like officials within the bureaucracy to sort of like maybe point like fun a little bit at how, I don't want to say pointless, but maybe how like inefficient some authority can be. So again, I kind of like the like not so seriously being like, but they're ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And so yeah, I like that he was kind of like, obviously this is exaggerated, but like how they can be, and it can make them very inefficient. So
yeah, I agree. Where it's there was one species, I think it was the one that read the poetry, I think it was that same species, where it was like they have to have everything, they have a bunch of red tape, and they wouldn't make any kind of exceptions even to save like their grandparent.
yeah,
It has to be, fine letterhead, it has to have certain stamps, it has to be mailed in with a certain time, it has to have like this seal of approval, like they have to go through all of these things for them to even look at it. And then even then, like it would probably sit on their desk for a long time. So I thought that was kind of funny, like kind of poking fun at due process almost.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like for sure that's like, I just said that twice, but whatever. Like that's an extreme, right? Like not even to like save a life, but you can't get it together to do that. But also like funny, not so funny. It's funny because it's true kind of thing. Marvin is both funny and depressing. What role do you think he plays in the story?
His role to me was almost like a comedic relief, because not that there wasn't any other comedy in the novel.
What? There was literally nothing else that was funny about this book.
It's just like kind of made me also think, reading it now that I'm older, right? Because at first I was like, the first time I read it, I remember thinking like, why is this robot so depressed? Like, what is going on with him? Like, I'm thinking programming, right?
Yeah.
And then now that I'm older, it's like, well, the more knowledge you have, the more kind of depressing it can get if you just go into like these spiraling thoughts, because and I can't imagine having a computer brain and knowing how everything actually works, and then just kind of like only thinking about the negatives and all of these things. So but he also has like these comedic, very sarcastic one-liners to these other characters. It's like, oh yeah, let the robot go and get the hitchhikers or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna be doing anything anyway.
Yeah.
So I just thought he was just like an enhancement, just kind of, on the side.
It's a very like exaggerated depression too, which I think is part of what makes it funny. And honestly, I think it kind of adds a little bit of a dark humor to the story, because there's a lot of humor throughout it, but I feel like that's where it's kind of like a darker side of it. Like you said, I mean, if you had like really full knowledge of everything, like how would you feel? But then I also think it's hilarious that the robot is the one that has depression, because I feel like it gives like an emotional contrast to the story. And it's hilarious to think that like the robot is the one like giving like the emotional side of things.
Like a life what is it called? A midlife crisis, almost like a life, what is it, the word I'm thinking of? Like,
I thought that's what you were thinking.
Yeah, like it's not necessarily a midlife crisis, but like
an existential.
Yes, thank you. Like he's going through an existential crisis and he just doesn't know where to identify
Like
himself. And
everything
it's
is
like,
wrong. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why I was like comparing him to like Eeyore. Obviously that's like from a cartoon and like very like little kids, but it's just very like the world is sad.
you just don't think about it.
Yeah, for real. That's why they say ignorance is bliss. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know, how can you?
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. What did you think about the relationship and dynamic between the main group of characters?
I think it works well. I think because their personalities are so different. So it's like a good like personality like clash, which creates obviously humor and like tension that you need. So I think it worked well. I think that is what makes it so funny because they're all so different.
I do like their interactions. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a specific scenario, but probably whenever they're landing on that planet that's closed and they're all like about to die and they're like, "Oh yeah," like one of them is the one that I was telling you about with the two heads. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's probably, it'll be fine. We can just go on. It's just an automatic thing." And then
Yeah.
like they have these missiles coming towards them and they're all kind of like, "What's going on? What do we do?" And then Arthur's like, "What if we push this button?" They're like, "There's no time." And they all think they're gonna, it's just so funny where he's like, "Oh, it'll be fine," and it's like the absolute opposite of that.
The most not fine, actually.
The most not fine scenario. And then you have the the ship saying like you have 30 seconds to impact, 10 seconds to impact, and has like these, "I hope you all ready, enjoy the trip," or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just so ridiculous. And that scene specifically between the characters and their reactions to like an actual crisis was funny.
How did you interpret the answer to life, the universe, and everything being 42?
I was confused by it. Like 42 what? 42 years? It's almost like I think you were saying earlier where it was just some random answer to a question that they didn't really hear. Or what did you say?
I don't remember what I said. I mean, I'm probably something along the same lines. I feel like it suggests that people focus too much on the answers without like asking the right questions. And they're so concerned with like getting it right that they don't even know what they're asking, basically. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it's hilarious. I also think it brings up a good point into perspective that sometimes whenever you're just looking for an answer, basically anything can be the question because like you're going to see the answer you want to see. So whenever they were able to like come up with like, well, how many paths does the man need to take or whatever, that's what they like wanted that to be the thing. And so like they're going to read into it what they will because they're like so focused on the answer versus like asking the right question.
That's a good point. That may be one of what Douglas Adams was trying to convey.
Maybe. In the craziest way possible.
Do you think the book is more about the journey or the ideas behind it?
I kind of feel like more like the ideas. I feel like the journey is just a way to like explore them. But I feel like it's more about the ideas.
I think it's a little bit more about the journey, and then, well, maybe I'm thinking too much about this question, honestly.
What? Overcomplicated?
How do I overcomplicate this question? I don't know. I think honestly, I think it's about the journey because it's the Hitchhiker's Guide. And
yeah.
But I also like that it explores these like bigger questions and ideas about common issues between species and planets and stuff. So like it's also funny that Earth has like a bureaucracy system and the other planets and the galaxy, like they all have like their own kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I found that pretty funny, but I think it's the journey, and then they find that through their journey, through the journey.
Okay.
I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think there's an argument probably to be made both sides. So, which I guess we just
I'm
kind
not
of
going to
did.
take it that
Yeah. Were there any parts that confused you or felt too random?
random. I thought that it was very random, not necessarily confused, but I thought it was like so random that the mice ended up being the people that purchased Earth to be built.
Yeah.
And it was literally designed by these, what was his name? Spartle something? Splattarty Bartlefast. And he created like the ocean lines in like Norway, and I just
Yeah.
find that
I was
so
like, have you ever
random.
been to Norway? No.
And he's like, no,
That was like some of my best work, basically.
exactly. I found it so random that Earth was a designer planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess like for the sake of the question, yeah, I did feel like there was stuff that was I don't want to say too random though, because I feel like the randomness is part of the charm. Like that is kind of the point.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't think anything felt too random to me just because the whole thing was so random. So
Yeah.
nothing stood out as like even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
Do you think the humor and themes still feel relevant today?
and I think that having the perspective from reading it like back in high school to now is interesting too because my thoughts on it then, I mean, I remember liking it and like you were saying kind of like remember the big plot points, but getting to read through it again as like a grown adult is definitely different, but I think the relevance is 100% there with like the humor regarding bureaucracy and technology and like overcomplicating and always looking for answers but not like the questions kind of thing. And so I think 100% still relevant. I know this was written like forever ago, but I think it still stands.
I agree. I think it's very relevant. I also like that it was set in a sci-fi tone because one of a couple of reasons because it's so interesting. It's an interesting take on these common themes throughout human history, but also like because it's set in, and I get in a sci-fi tone, you don't realize how old the book is. It feels like it was written like early 2000s, maybe late 1900. I hate to say 1900s, but
Like late 90s.
late 90s. Jesus,
In the
late 90s.
1900s.
The 1900s. Exactly.
Starts with 19.
I know, rough.
Yeah.
But I feel like it really helps like make it more helps keep it relevant without like it being a classic like reading Wuthering Heights or Count of Monte Cristo or Little
Yeah.
Women. Like it doesn't have like that tone where you're like, okay, I am reading a classic,
Yeah.
It
We in the 1900s. We in the 1800s.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. What do you think the book is trying to say about the meaning or meaninglessness of life?
I think it doesn't necessarily matter in the end.
Yeah.
I think it's like there's a bigger picture and just basically make a decision and then, move forward.
Yeah. I think it's suggesting that life probably doesn't have a clear meaning and that's okay. Like
Yeah,
it's okay to not like
it's okay just
know
to
the
enjoy
meaning of
it.
life.
After reading this book, would you continue the series? Why or why not?
Yeah. I haven't read any more in the series. I don't know. I think it's fun and it would be worth like exploring further. I just haven't picked it up, but I'm definitely not opposed to it, so I would.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I didn't know it was a series. I thought it was a standalone.
Yeah.
Just the more we do this podcast, I'm starting to realize I'm kind of more of just like a reader. Not like a reader, but like I just pick things up. I don't dig
Just
too
like
much into them.
going along and you're like, oh, I just read this really great book, and now all of a sudden I realize it's actually a 8 book series.
Exactly. For an author that I really like too,
Yeah.
it's just so. And then I really liked this book too, but I never paid attention or didn't see one of whatever, or I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I feel the same way because it's like how sometimes I think like we're so connected into like what's going on in the book world, like what's coming out and like
Yeah.
what's happening with who and like topics, I don't know, whatever. But then like stuff like this will happen or like, specifically thinking of when we did Cuckoo's Calling and both of us were like, it's got 8 books in it. Like, what is happening? Because we both
For
fully
real.
were like,
I'm starting to
"It's
think
one book."
like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, about me not being connected to them. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm totally down to read the next part of the series. I'm not like grabbing it and like want to devour,
Like
all of
chomping at the
them,
bit.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not exactly chomping at the bit, but I mean, I'm definitely open to it. I really like how this one ended, where it's like it kind of like wrapped everything up, but then it also set it up for like, oh, are you hungry? Let's go get this fast food burger at this other place at the other side of the world, or other side of the galaxy. So it kind of like
You know what it made me think
continued
of too?
without necessarily needing to.
Because I don't remember it like necessarily ending like that with like, oh, let's go get something to eat or whatever. So I don't know if this was intentionally a play on this book or what, but it reminded me of is it whatever Avengers it was, where at the end they were like going to get the shawarma
The shawarma?
in the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Like at the very end, and they're like talking about the shawarma place, and they're like, let's go eat. That's what it made me think of. And so I don't know if Avengers did that as like a nod to Hitchhiker's Guide or if it was just like a funny thing too. And that's what it made me think of when I read it this time. Because obviously, whenever I read it back in high school, it wasn't, Avengers wasn't out yet.
Maybe if the director, if anyone ever asked the director, whoever decided to do that, and be like, "Did you do that because of this one book?" And they
now I need to Google it. Yeah.
I'll take credit for that. Yeah, I made the connection.
Yeah, I totally thought of that. Yeah, that's so funny. Cool. Well, that was a good one. So overall thoughts, would you recommend this book to others?
100%. I think it's fun. I think it's very palatable. I think you can find something in it that you could take away from it.
Yeah.
And reading it like 10 years ago, like I still remember the highlights. So it's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some people I don't know if they would necessarily appreciate the humor in it, but I still would recommend that everybody tries to read it. I think it's a really good classic book and a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Writing style.
Writing style. I enjoyed the writing style. I think it's kind of quirky, but also gives like a futuristic kind of tone to it.
Yeah.
I also like how they describe things, like the descriptions of some of the stuff, because a lot of these things like we don't have any context of what it could be, So I think the author really does a lot of really good simplistic but telling descriptions of these things, and I think it's really well balanced for the setting. So I really like the writing style.
I agree with that specifically. I was speaking recently, I think with Joe, about sometimes with like fantasy specifically, there can be creatures or stuff going on that like is not explained. And so you're having to just kind of figure it out on the fly, like with context clues and stuff, which I get to some degree because fantasy can be like super in depth already. So if you're explaining like every little thing, but I do really appreciate that because obviously this is a futuristic thing. I also think something can be said again to the writing style, similar to what you've been saying, is that that it was written so long ago. And so many other classics that were written a long time ago, like you can tell that writing style, that was you can just tell the like timeline of that. And I don't think that most people would think that this was written so long ago. And so I find that very interesting because you know that his writing style had to be so different from that time period because it seems like it could have been written just like 15, 20 years ago. And you know, people would believe you. So, yeah, I really liked it as well.
It was
Story
definitely ahead of its time whenever it was released. Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
This was the dungeon crawler car of that era.
Yeah.
Story engagement.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit whenever we were talking about the entries, but the pacing was really good. It's so chaotic and crazy, but I never felt lost or like it was moving too fast. And I feel like the entries and the information that was given was done like quick to the point in a good way that didn't mess up the pacing. So, I mean, I would say page 1 to the end, it was engaging.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was, I also think because it was so chaotic and, you know, so quick paced, fast paced, is like you don't really want to put it down because you want to wrap up this little part of it. But then you get thrown into something so quickly and so chaotic and like, well, what, it piques your interest that you don't really necessarily want to put it down. Because,
and it's like over and over again because each little section is like so quick that you're like, well, I'll just like do this, but then you get wrapped up in the next thing.
Just one more chapter.
Yeah, and one more chapter in this is like, crazy stuff is happening, so it's easy to just like keep going for sure. And it's a quick read altogether. It's not a very long book, but yeah.
I agree. Overall rating.
I gave it a 4. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I'd say on the cusp of a 5. It's right there. It's not like a perfect book for me, but I really loved it. It's so fun, and having read it in 2 seasons of my life, I think it still stands out of 4, you know, then and now for very different reasons. And I think it's a solidly good book. So I'm going 4. What about you?
I also gave it a 4. I really enjoyed it. Not too sure why I didn't give it a 5. I'm not sure. I can't put my finger on it.
I know. That's why I said on the cusp of 5, but there's just like, I just don't feel like when I close the book, I'm like, it's a 4. Like I just feel it, but it's so good. So I could see it easily being 5.
Maybe, you know, maybe the second one is a 5. Maybe like the whole overall series is a 5. I
know. We need to get it together.
Introductory book of the series, apparently. So. Well, that's it for today's episode. Next week, we're going into Popular Picks Week with My Husband's Wife. Interesting title. Not interesting title, but like a very hooked title there.
Yeah.
By Alice Feeney. This is going to be our second book by Alice Feeney. We did the other one, Sometimes I Lie. So this will be number 2 for us. So now's the time to grab a copy and read along with us. We'll see you next week for more twists, turns, and bookish chaos.